With me now is the most legendary blues musician in the world today, winner of 5 Grammys, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, B.B. King. You have done more to bring the blues to everyone around the world than any other musician. In doing that, you've kind of created for yourself a position in the blues industry where you are the king in more ways than one. Now, does that create for you some additional responsibility? Does it create pressure for you? How do you fit into that role as now being the elder statesman of the blues industry?
Well, for one thing, I never consider myself the king because other people call me that. I think of, but I never call myself that. But one thing I think, though, I have felt that since I've been somewhat successful and I've in carrying the blues around in different places, I felt that the better and the more consistent I am, the better it will be for people to follow me that are younger and better, you might say, coming later. I also feel that I'm an entertainer, and the blues has not had the best name, if you will, through the years. So I kind of got a responsibility to try and show people both sides. There's that side that most people think of when you say blues. Oh my God, they're blues. And then there's that other side, that the other side of the coin, that tunes like Sweet Little Angel, the guy's not blue at all. He's having fun. Otherwise, there's the joyous side as well as the sad side.
Why do you think the blues is so popular today compared to 20 years ago?
A lot of the kids, especially young white kids today, young white kids that play it, support it, and they play it well. And there's blues clubs, blues societies, I should say, that's popping up all over the place now. And that's been a big help to the blues. There are blues superstars now, the late Stevie Ray Vaughan. There's a young guy today called Robert Cray, that's a superstar. We have a Canadian person named Jeff Healey, another guy called Joe Louis Walker. We have Kenny Neal, Little Jimmy King, and a young, very young guy from Australia, just made 13 years old.
I saw him on the Kennedy Center Honors.
And they are the ones that are so good that a lot of the kids picking up on them and really supporting the blues.
Who were the giants when you were growing up?
The ones that was my mentors, if you will, I like both blues and jazz and country. I like some of all of it. So my idols in the blues, one was a guy called Lonnie Johnson. You quite often hear the name Robert Johnson, but Robert was not my favorite. Lonnie Johnson was. A Texas musician called Lemon Jefferson, and people say he was born blind, so everybody called him Blind Lemon Jefferson.
T-Bone Walker?
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
In the jazz, there was Charlie Christian, was one of the first to be in an integrated band, and Benny Goodman was the one that had him in his band. He was a great jazz guitarist, and then there was a Frenchman called Django Reinhardt. So all of these I liked, and then when I heard T-Bone Walker, I went crazy for the guitar, and I've been crazy ever since.
Well, you started out playing really gospel, and were not really immediately turned on to blues until you heard T-Bone. Is that how it happened?
Well, you're right. I started out in gospel and started out wanting to be a gospel singer. I never thought that I'd ever be a blues singer. But my aunt had records by some of the people I mentioned that I had a chance to hear, listen to when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. But when I got to be a teenager, I used to sit on the street corners and play, and not asking anyone to put something in the hat, but be happy if they did. Usually when people asked me to sing gospel songs, they would always praise me, pat me on the shoulder and on the head and said, "Son, that's great. If you keep it up, you're going to be great one day." But they never did tip. But people,
You get all that spiritual feeling there, right? Yeah.
but people that would ask me to sing and play blues would always give me a tip. That was the motivation.
You were recently, we alluded to it at the Kennedy Center Honors, where you were honored by the greatest peers in the country, and including the president was there, Mrs. Clinton. I guess you were honored at the White House prior to the dinner.
Right.
What did you talk to Bill Clinton about?
Well, first I asked him that he had just got in about 2 hours before the ceremonies was at the White House. And I said, Mr. President, aren't you a bit tired? You just came from Europe. And he said, no, BB, I'm not really tired. He said, I had a good rest on Air Force One. I said, yes, sir. And we just generally talked. We talked about music just a little bit. I told him that someday when he's not so busy, I'd like to sit in with him playing his horn. And he smiled and said, yes, I'll think about it, he said. And it's just general conversation. He was real nice to us, treated us very nice.
It's funny that you ask him about his trips, because you probably travel more than the president does.
Yes, I'm sure I do.
You were just telling me a little bit earlier that you cut down your travel load from 300 nights a year to 260.
Yes, we did, I think, 260 concerts. I don't want to spoil my glory there, but sometimes we don't play as many days as we have the concerts, because sometimes we do 2 concerts per day. So that's how the concerts add up. So sometimes we may do 200 days with 250 concerts. I hope I'm making some sense.
Yeah, no, I'm following. You people following? Yeah, they're following.
Okay, so I don't want to really tear down my glory there.
Whether it's 260 or 230 cities, it doesn't matter. It's a lot of days, a lot of traveling,
Yes,
a lot of frequent flyer miles on that bus of yours. But do you also travel internationally to, I know this year you're going to Europe and
Yes.
Japan.
Yes.
And what are the differences when you go to Japan, the difference in the audience in Japan compared to an American audience?
Well, I was told when I first went over there about 30 years ago, I guess, that the Japanese doesn't show emotion. They're not emotional as Americans are, and that is by, moving and so on. That they would just sit there and be, how shall I say it? They're always polite, usually, but not today so much, because they will get in and they'll do it today. They dance and all. I remember my manager, Sid Seidenberg, and I was over there, at least 25 years ago, and I have some little picks, little pins and stuff that I kind of pass out. So I was on the stage and playing, and I passed. May I offer you one?
Oh, I would love to have
So
one.
I passed one of those.
B.B. King guitar.
Yes, that's Lucille.
Yeah.
And I passed one of them out, and it seemed like a tidal wave of people. They just whoo down like that. And it was frightening. There was so many that came up.
A lot of emotion all of a sudden.
Well, yes, but it showed that they're just like we are. They're interested in whatever's going on. And today, a lot of young people, they're really loose. They enjoy themselves.
Where do you think music is at today?
Well, the blues is more popular than it's been since I've been trying to play it. Music as a whole, I think we got some good music. It's a lot of good musicians. I think a lot of the adults give some of the young people kind of a bad rap as far as some of the music's concerned. But I look back and think myself, when I was a teenager and we was playing boogie woogie, my family wasn't always crazy about it. So when rock and roll came along, a lot of the families wasn't too crazy about it, and a lot of the music, rap and some of the other, I should say, today is not so popular with families. But to me, I think it's very creative to be a rap artist. The only thing that bothers me is some of them use a lot of 4-letter words that I don't think that they need to. I don't mean golf either. So, I think that it's sort of like movies. If a movie needs a nude scene to make a point, okay, but just to put it in there, just to put it in, I don't think is the way it should be. And the same thing I think about rap. But you try to rhyme everything you say, and you'll find that it's a problem. It's a problem. So these kids that's doing it, they're very talented, very talented. And a lot of the musicians that are playing are very talented. Someone asked me, I believe yesterday, B, do you listen to young people? And I said, yeah. And then, do you learn anything? And I said, yes. Do you use any of it? And I hesitated, but yes, I do. I learn from some of them, and I use some of the things that they do, because they come up with some very good ideas. And by the way, this is their time. And I don't kick the music. I think that we got a lot of good musicians, and it's going to be a lot coming out of it that's going to stay.
I told you earlier that I personally just started recently playing guitar.
I'm waiting for my lesson.
Yeah, and it's a labor. I mean, it's a labor for me, you know, to practice. Do you still practice?
Oh yes. Yes.
And
never enough.
And do you have calluses on your fingers? I mean, they're smooth. They're smooth. I mean, this man has. I mean, everybody tells you when you play guitar, you get those calluses and those hard. He has smooth fingertips. So when you practice those slides, and I mean, it doesn't rough them up anymore.
Yes, it does. But what I do that some don't, I don't like my guitar strings way up off the neck.
Right.
It's been times I used to play, sometimes my fingers would bleed. It's corns there, but they're soft now. They're not the hard ones like you see. If I don't play any for about a week and a half, if I don't pick up the guitar and play in a week and a half, my fingers then get to be very tender, and then, excuse me, and for the first 2 or 3 dates that I play, I'm in misery, because the first day they get sore, very sore. The second day you got to play on that soreness, and the third day is still sore, and that's when you develop that this year. But I keep the action pretty low.
Pretty low. Which means keeping the strings low, close to the neck.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Hey, I feel it's like I'm in a trade here, right?
Yeah, right.
Is it harder for you to move your fingers as you? I mean,
get older?
As you get older.
No, your fingers somewhat get trained to do what you do. It's sort of like singing songs. There's certain songs in my head that I can say without even thinking hardly. Just the song is so-and-so, and I can get right in it. But then to learn a new song, though, it's more of a problem today than it used to be. To get a new song, I'm talking to stay in there. I can see it,
right,
then do it. Well, my fingers, to learn them to do new things, sometimes there's a bit of a problem. It's funny that you would ask, but yes, I have arthritis in here, and yes, they bothers me sometimes. Sometimes they do bother me. I find myself now trying to hold a pick. I need a little bit of a grip, so sometimes if you see me playing, you see me do this and grab the pick. Dave, you didn't know that, did you? But I do that so I can get a better grip on the pick. So, yes, I have more of a problem today, but after I get started, the sound to my ears is so soothing, I forget all about it.
Do you play anything else other than the guitar?
I don't play anything as well, which I do better on the guitar than anything else, but the violin a little bit. I run scales on violin. I used to have one, and the clarinet. I learned to read pretty well to clarinet, faster rather than I do with the guitar. Play a little bass, little drums, little piano, and a little guitar.
That's a lot. Who would you like to play with who you haven't played with yet? Oh, gosh. I wish you had asked me who I would not like to play with, and I could answer you much easier. Okay.
I can't think of anybody I would not like to play with. So,
okay.
You name them, I'd like to. Oh, yeah. Eric Clapton, I'd like to do a thing with. Oh, gosh. There are just so many. That's the first one coming to mind. But,
okay.
Oh, boy. There are so many. I really don't know what to tell you.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for spending some time with us. And
Maybe
you know,
Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
And you know, this gentleman lives in Nevada, and it would be okay with us if you stayed home a little bit more and hung around the neighborhood a little bit.
Thank you. I'd like that.
Thank you, BB.
Thrill is gone, baby. The thrill is gone.